Hi. So I want to tell a bit more about the possibilities of the AMOC collapse. Um since until this year, the likelihood, so to say, was low. The scientists said that it's a low likelihood, high impact event, meaning it's like less than 30% possibility that it happens. But if it happens, it's dramatic. So right now, in August 2025, or during these last few months, the German Potsdam Institute for Climate Research has published a new study, which changes everything. But first, I will remind a bit about what AMOC collapse means, and the previous video in this podcast is about that. But basically, that would mean dramatic cooling of Europe in the face of all the warming up of the rest of the planet. But Northern Europe, Central Europe would cool down a lot, like 3 degrees in a decade. That's about 10 times more than the warming up is happening right now. So it's something drastic. It's not something that the environment can adjust to. It would mean impact on rainforests in the south from Latvia. The rainforest zone would migrate. It would then affect the monsoon season. Talking more about Europe, it's not only cooling, it's weather events. The storms will become a lot more frequent due to temperature differences between north and south, and the agriculture will become a lot more challenging, uh, if not impossible, in some regions of Europe. So the summers will be a lot shorter. There will be drought, and and in between a lot of wetness. So this happened before. Uh, it's called the Younger Dryas Event, and it happened around 12,000 years ago, and it led to 1,000 years of ice age in Europe. Um, Unknown how it would happen this time. But back to the study. So this study, which was done this year in 2025 in the summer, concludes that it's no longer a low likelihood event that the AMOC will collapse. Even more, the scientists think that the decisive moment when when the tipping point can be and the AMOC collapse can no longer be avoided is in the next 10 to 20 years. So unless in the next 10 or to 20 years we cut down our emissions drastically, the AMOC will collapse. At least in 70% of the models, the AMOC collapses. If we drastically cut it down, the emissions, the possibility is the AMOC collapses in 27% of models, of climate prediction models. That's but even that is a lot more than would be comfortable. Basically, a flip of the coin or a three-sided dice, whether AMOC will collapse. If we cut down, it's 1/3 possibility or so. If we do not cut down on the emissions, it is 70% likelihood, or in accordance with 70% of the models, AMOC will collapse. Now, it's not that AMOC will collapse immediately when the tipping point is reached. It still could be next century, perhaps, but AMOC is already weakening. And AMOC right now, the Great Conveyor Belt stream in the Atlantic Ocean is right now weaker than it has been in 1,600 years. And the weakening is continuing, and largely based on the melting Greenland ice. And ice melting in other regions, but specifically Greenland ice. And what we can see already in the effect of global climate change, for example, in Antarctica, the speed of greening of the Antarctica is right now 10 times faster than it was in I don't want to be mistaken, I think in 1986. So before that there were like I will use the metric system, not the metric but the imperial system. It was like 0.6 miles square miles a year. Right now it's 12 square miles a year. So the from 1986, the increase of flourishing or greening of Antarctica has been more, by 30% more, and I think it was like 10 times more in the last 10 years. So it's rapidly increasing. Also, recently there was news that in Panama the ocean currents also are not due to the warm air. The ocean currents are not bringing up the nutrient and salt-rich waters from the deep ocean. So we already see disturbances like early warning signs. And with Greenland, there's also an early warning sign because there's already forming a cold pocket next to Greenland, where simply the waters are not not heating up due to the AMOC stream. So Gulf Stream is part of this whole AMOC, a great conveyor belt of water circulation of Earth. So now, reality time. If there is no revolution or something drastic happens, I can't imagine the world as it is now getting together and cutting the emissions drastically. So I guess we have to live with the knowledge that we as humanity have breached this tipping point, or will breach actually in the 10 to 20 years, and then there will be no going back. So with all the letdown and tragic misuse of Earth's resources that has been happening, and this climate conference is just a place for politicians to smile and take photos and no real concrete action which really stops these emissions, you have to ask yourselves, can we cut down? And if we cannot, then in the next 10 to 20 years, 70% of models say that we will pass this no turning back point for AMOC collapse. And that would mean a return of, well, let's say, perhaps not Ice Age, but something close to that in Northern Europe, perhaps even Ice Age, we do not know. And that's horrific. It would not mean this environment as we see today, that not the full food supply. It's possible that as already some countries in the south are becoming inhospitable for some periods of year, and they may become unlivable. So it may be that also in northern European countries, we will have to return to seasonal migration, perhaps, or at least we will have to resort to new advanced agriculture, like growing below ground in greenhouses or something like that. So I will touch upon these possible scenarios and what adaptation methods we could need to take. But I will want to close with perhaps in the next video about another thought I have more on the, how to say, meditation on this new scientific study. See you around.